Hey everybody, Ben here, and welcome to Cinderblock Studios live on Twitch. It is early morning, well, not super early, depending on the time you're used to. It's 8 a.m. I'm ready to paint. Well, I'm not ready to paint. I'm gonna be ready to paint because I got up, I got a shower, I started getting ready, and I was like, crap, I'm gonna run out of time before 8 o'clock rolls around. And sure enough, it did. So I'm actually not completely set up right now. I just went and got some orange juice. And yeah, so I kind of have to get finish getting set up, finish getting everything out to everybody. I gotta set up the thing. I want to get my chat window off to the side, and so yeah, there's still a little bit of setup I'm doing here. So just bear with me for the next couple of minutes as that happens. Or if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can just hit the time code below. So I want to pop out the chat. Pop out. Boop. And we're going to drag that over here. Sweet. And I think we can pop the video out as well. I think. No? Maybe not. Well, I don't think I actually need the other sections of the dashboard open. So I might be able to watch this just over on the channel page to be sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we're going to do it based on that. Because that'll be a lot easier for me to handle than trying to do everything else. Alright. I gotta tweet this out. Okay. Get those out to my areas. Alright, I think we're pretty good now. And so long as I remember to keep things monitored, which I never seem to do anyway, we'll get around to doing that. So, yes, yeah, now, it's the one thing about the dashboard that's actually useful is because it's more... Oh no, not the dashboard. This. That's what I needed. I needed to open OBS to actually look at what I'm doing. Come to think of it, I can probably pull that over with the chat window. Sorry, I'm still setting up. I really should have made this start at 8:30 just to make it easier on myself. I can't make that any smaller. Alright, well, that'll work. Okay, so I'm working on finishing this painting that I started a month ago, and I'm still not done because, of course, you know, paintings are really just that interesting middle ground. It's like this for me, it's a matter of time plus motivation is sort of what judges whether or not a piece ends up getting done. And lately, well, I haven't had much time or motivation, so things have been a little bit falling on the wayside. But I'm actually almost done with this piece. I'm probably like, I don't know, 85% there. So I've got really just this whole foreground section, which seems like a lot. But the background's, you know, basically done, so I don't even have to touch that. And then it's just a matter of getting the foreground kind of touched up and looking nice. So I actually have to scrape some palettes off too. I've got a nice stack of them. Haven't done anything. with them. So in addition to this painting, I've also got a chalk pastel tree, as well as a couple of my regular bookmarks that need finishing up. And then maybe, just maybe, if I can do all of those things in not too much time, I may look at starting a new piece, but I don't know. But I also have the tablet down here. I might roll open Photoshop. Just is this the one I needed? No, it's not. Okay, good. I've been trying to keep one particular palette over several, just because I like to know what colors I was using previously. So if I let stuff dry, I'd be like, oh, it had this color and that color, and that's what I was working with. I mean, ideally, I finish a painting in like 2 weeks, but I get a piece like this that takes a little more out of me. Plus, I didn't really plan ahead. All I've got is a small sketch. Normally, I have a Photoshop sketch, which kind of takes the guesswork out of the piece. So, of course, not having one of those, I have to make decisions on the fly, which takes a little bit longer. See, I should, if I was smart, sprayed this with water first. Because when you spray a palette with water first, it acts as a lubrication layer between your blade and the glass. But one thing that does do, in addition to making it easier, is it kind of makes the paint all slimy. And I don't like that, because it gets a little nasty on your hands, and I'm like scraping off. It looks like a booger. Oh man. So yeah, really I just need one clear palette today, so at least not today, at least for this piece anyway. So I'll use that as my starter, and then work on some of these as I go. Okay, so that's there. This one's covered in all kind of colors, because I was working on the city in the center. So this piece, I should bring it up for anyone who has no idea what I'm talking about with this. It's from a personal and community visual development project called Kingdom of the Wind. I started it, actually started sort of conceiving the project around this time last year. I was hoping to have it done by now, but I basically haven't even started on it. Well, this counts as starting on it. So it's going to end up being a much longer term project than I originally intended it to be. But I think it'll end up working out for the best, plus it'll give other people a chance to submit art to the project as a whole. So, I just had a thought. I might end up getting a better response out of it if I turn the project into a DeviantArt group. That way, I could actually kind of collect the pieces a little bit more. And it could end up being a little more social that way. Yep. Yeah. So this so the Kingdom of the Wind project it's built around a short story that I wrote, and then everything sort of the whole point of the project was to go about designing the world and some of the things in the world. Excuse me. So really it's just like a landscape prompt. Like, here's this place, here are these characters, this is what they're doing. Whether you can be a character designer and work on the project, you can be like prop designer and work on it. It's open to everybody, and I've really been enjoying building the world, and now it's just about designing the world. Alright. Like I said, I'm not really prepped, so things are a bit behind. But I figured it'll at least give people a chance to kind of come in and see what I'm doing, provided I'm actually doing it. Alrighty. Yep, I waited too long to scrape this. If I would have done it in a week, or less than a week, rather, it would have come off a little easier. Also, the blade's probably getting a little dull, so... yeah, a little bit. So, yeah. So what I need to do on this piece today is finish the cliffs on this side, or on both sides, rather. And then I have some snow in the foreground and a figure and some rocks to put in. My problem here is, though, some of this snow is in the shadow. Actually, most of it is. So I have to get a good color that looks like the snow is in the shadow and not just totally in the light like everything in the background. And I still have to maintain the looser brushwork that I was doing in the back while adding detail in the foreground, which is going to be a pain. A fun pain, but a pain nonetheless. I gotta remember to have some orange juice every now and then. Because on studio days, specifically Saturday morning studio days, I don't usually eat breakfast. I just come down and have a glass of juice and just paint for like 5 hours. So, if I'm doing that, I have to remember to put something in my stomach. Although I've got these little pineapple pastry things that I made earlier this week, and I might grab one of those a little bit early, a little bit earlier. No, a little bit later. Alrighty. This is the last palette, I promise. Oh, I wasn't supposed to scrape this one. Oh well, I know what's on it. Yep, I really should have just sprayed these with water. It would have made it so much easier, but I didn't freaking feel like it. So yeah. So for anyone watching out there that I know's moving my stream from YouTube to Twitch, kind of lost a little bit of viewership doing that. If you're unfamiliar with the Twitch streaming service as a whole, you can actually comment regardless, if you have an account or not. So, yeah. I gotta get some music going here. But I figured doing it Saturday morning, I'll get people as they're waking up. Which is pretty cool. Oh, look, Bob Ross is streaming today, too. Maybe I'll get some overlap. Should be neat. Hey, Wheeler's in the audience. Welcome. And good morning. Or afternoon or evening, whatever the case may be. Gotta see. Yeah, the other thing too is when I get my palette out for a live stream, I gotta make sure I'm not reflecting the light above me. So I gotta position this at just a point where it's not a big glare. So, yeah. So yeah, finish the cliffs, finish the snow. And then the edges I have to re-blacken, but that's not a big deal. That's a quick, easy thing. Alright, let's get some paint. That was a really, really crappy clap. Let's go again. That's good. Alright, Prussian blue has sort of been the more dominant blue for this. Also mixing some Smalton for really no reason, because it just disappears. Being a nice low tinting color. Alright. Zinc white has been crucial to this. I often refer to it as a specialty color, but it ends up, oh, hold on, I gotta blow my nose. It's actually a very rare occasion that I use my Kleenexes in the studio to actually blow my nose with. I'm always rubbing them paint and chalk and stuff on them. Oh, hello. I actually want to open the window down here now too. It's been nice and cool and I want to get some of that air in here. Plus it might also help blow some stuff around. Alright. So, yeah, sketch, Thingnum, colors, that's what we were doing. Totally lost track of where I was. We're also using some chromium oxide green as a little bit of a, I don't know, variant color. I've been using it in the shadows a bit, as well as some of my new favorite stuff are the Golden High Flows, which are a super thin, low viscosity paint. And I love using the alizarin crimson in stuff, specifically blue mixes, because it really darkens it down and makes it fantastic. So I get those. I think I needed just a hint of the cobalt blue, because I think I was using that in here a little bit more. Should have gotten a bigger tube of the cobalt blue. It's a really great color. Alright, so we get that. Probably should have gotten more little water, but it's okay. We'll play with it as we go. Alright, I want a brush. Let's see. So 90% of this piece, with the exception of the detail in the city, was painted with a single flat brush. But I need something a little bit bigger than this, particularly for the snow. Actually, this is a bright. I should get better at saying that. This is a flat, and that's probably what I'm going to use for the foreground. At least some of it. Yeah, I'll get that one out too. I'm sure I'll need it. There's a stiffer one. I'm going to use that as a blender brush as I go. Yeah, so I've kind of been leaning to some, I can probably just dunk that in the water for the time being, leaning towards more, I need white, higher end Master Series brushes lately. I mean, I don't need to buy brushes a ton, but I'm really enjoying the extra, I don't know, spring, I guess, in the bristles. I mean, I've had some of the same brushes that, like, you know, this whole 17 years I've been painting, I've got brushes that old, and then I keep buying more, and I'm actually running out of space. My one of my brush jars, this is getting to the point where I can't put any new brushes in it, so I've ended up started putting them in a new one. Still some room for my short ones though. Anyway, so with that, what else do I want? Man, decisions. I think I want to snag a little bit of molding paste, actually. Give a little extra volume to some of the stuff I'm doing, plus get the ability to extend a little color, especially when I start working into my neutral round mix. It's going to really come in handy. Okay, palette looks good now. Pretty happy with that. Actually, I know it's just mostly just for me, but one thing I learned, I would say one of the few things I actually learned from a college art class was that if I put, no, not that, that's a really good sheet of paper, I don't want to use that one. Need to find something thinner and cheaper. That works. Actually, no, that's also a really good piece of paper. I don't want to use that one either. I just want to find something simple. Oh wait, I got the crappy watercolor paper. I can use this. Perfect. This stuff doesn't even fold right, so it's a good one to use for scrap. It was also like a quarter a sheet. Okay. So, if you put a piece of white paper underneath your palette, you can better see the colors underneath. So if you're not used to color mixing, then this actually helps significantly, and will teach you to see the colors better, since obviously without this I have every color imaginable on my lower surface here with the cardboard. So yeah, there's an issue with that. Okay, so let's paint. I actually want to grab a paint marker too, which I've been using a bit lately. Alright, so I need basically just some white. Actually no, I gotta get the cliff done first over here. So we gotta start with mixing a blue. Funny blue. Actually want to do our dark green thing. I gotta get some music going in the background, kind of help pump me up here. You guys obviously won't hear it because, you know, copyrights and stuff, but if you are looking for it, you can actually check my website, cinderblockstudios.com, and the list is over, I think it's on the resources page, and it's called Music to Paint By. It's a collection of songs allocated to a YouTube playlist. So you should actually be able to put that up simultaneously if you kind of want an understanding of what I'm listening to while I'm painting. The only way to get that link is to go to my website. So again, cinderblockstudios.com/learning-resources, and you can find the Music to Paint By playlist. So I'm gonna find it in my list of junk. Too many playlists. Too many. It's probably near the top and I missed it. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I shuffled it the other day. I think I'll keep it in order today. Alright. That's what I needed. A little bit of music to move by. Okay. Now, finally, after almost, it's been 23 minutes, now I can finally start painting. How long am I on this for the morning? This morning in particular, I have no idea. But I'll definitely probably be in the studio for at least like 3 or 4 hours, so hopefully that long. So if you need to do something, come back and I'll probably still be on. Really kind of just need to build this color up here. It's a little bit. Awesome. You work on that design. It's one of the best things about a stream is being able to work while other people work, and it just, something about it, man, it just gets you moving. Juice. Actually, I'm unusually hungry this morning. I might go get one of those pastries. And I say that now, and it's gonna, like 45 minutes are going to go by. So yeah. I find that you don't feel so isolated. Yeah, that's actually probably a really great way of understanding that. Because it's very easy to feel isolated while painting. Let me get a little black. There's a chance this might be getting empty. I used a bunch of it recently. Plus I'm kind of mixing with the paint that's already on the canvas. That doesn't help either. This has got to be getting empty. Yeah, the flow has been really minimal. Started last time I was painting, and I think it's just kind of getting low on It's gotta be. I use the paint out of these real fast. Now I might have to declog this thing. I may have flooded it at a certain point, which could be part of the issue. Gotta clean clean the whole nozzle out. I bet this will help. It's really easy to flood a paint marker if you're not too careful. That looks a little better. Gonna reverse the nib, I think. Oh, hello. Whoa. Okay, hold up. All these little components to it. It's a whole... And now my hands are covered in paint. Ah! It's the whole back mechanism. I see what's happening here now. Take something apart so you know how it works. It's kind of neat. Okay. What's that thing? Get like a pop to this if I can. There's a lot of bubble. There's a little left in there. I could probably afford to put a bit in. So these are Liquitex paint markers. I've been refilling them with Golden High Flow, which works really well. Unless you don't fill them too hard, because that'll really flood it. The only thing that bugs me about the high flow colors is they tend to be a little pricey. But the quality of the paint between what's in the marker originally and what... where the hell did that cap go? It fell on the ground and just rolled somewhere. Ah, hell. What the... It just freaking vanished. Where the... Okay, seriously? Crawling around on the floor for this thing. Unless it went a lot further than I thought it did. Let's see, it fell. And went where? Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, there it is. Alright. Okay, I want to give that 2 minutes to run into the tip. Now we gotta wait a minute. But also give me a good opportunity to grab my other camera, because this is supposed to be a painting process video. So it's gonna be good to record some of this. It's not bad. Okay. Alright, so actually the bottom of this needs to be a little darker, so I'm going to get some texture in with this. come to think that this would be a good part to record. Just gotta remember to get... Come on. Oh, lens cap. And focus. That's why. Okay. Yeah, this has already helped significantly with the marker, so if you have flow issues, you gotta remember to clean them out. And add a little more paint. Okay. Probably won't need that again. Okay. I need to bring a little bit of light into this, but not a ton. I like the idea of leading closer with the cobalt blue. A little zinc white. Need more of that red. Alright. So, I have to turn this so I can see what I'm doing. So this playlist of music I'm on, when I was working on it, I like really kind of curated how the songs kind of lean into each other, from one to the other. Like, no matter how many times I go through this playlist, it's always like, oh yeah, this song, alright. I had no idea this was coming. Because I really didn't. I forget what's in here a lot. Which is good, because it kind of keeps me going, keeps me motivated. I like that. That's working. This is pretty good. Trying to now, I guess, work a little bit more texture into this, again, without going super light. Which is kind of where the zinc white comes in handy. I can just take it up more incrementally. Really glad I had a lot more of that red in here. I'm getting some great violet tones in this that really make it feel like it's more shadowy. Yay, color theory! That might work. I may not even have to do much more than that. Generally, you detail more in the foreground, but the focus on this piece is in that center area, so I kind of want to stick with that. So I think I'm going to. All right. So we need some white and a tiny bit of blue. Use the smalt for that. And just load it up. And I had this thought the other day of rather than doing the entire foreground in shadow, to kind of do a little bit of a piece of it that is in the light, and then let the big cliff on the left kind of be casting a big shadow. So I'm gonna kind of build a little. Actually, I gotta get that smaller brush for this first, because this is a much tighter area. I've got a nice base with the blue, though I may need a little more at a certain point. And snow's tricky, because you really got to be careful not to just paint the whole thing white. It's similar to how I do grass, that you're leaving a little bit of empty space. I'm just kind of just bouncing along with the brush. Keeping it kind of thick. I think I actually went a little bit too far with that, but that's okay. So now my shadow snow is going to be like that blue and white smalt. Maybe a little bit of that red, but just a little. So it's kind of going to basically do the same thing, but more subtle. And I may need to glaze some over top, but don't really want to. I think just sticking with... scrape this off the brush, get it up to the tip a little more. Just needs through the tips of the bristles. There it is. Where am I at? Here. Alright, nice base. Gotta push that darker extreme a bit. Just realized I didn't actually record any of that. Oh well, I can pull it from the stream later. Have some more juice. Alright. Need to angle up a little more. Good. Good. Hit record for a while. Hey, Rare Earth Art's in the chat. Woo! Sweet. Alright. Now. Actually, I want to get that paint marker back. Said I was done with it, but apparently I'm not. I want to outline this rock. That's good. Alright. What do we got? Need a little shadow in here. More shadow to our shadow. That's why I love using small blue. It seems to be perfect for snow. Plus, it's wet to dry color shift is really neat. So I'll apply it and it'll look a lot lighter and it'll darken to a much more rich transparent. Which you guys will see. Okay, that's actually going to need a little time to dry now. Then I think we'll go back in with that smaller brush and just kind of clean those edges up a little. And then we'll be pretty close, actually. Alright, so video camera's out of battery. Gotta swap one out. Hopefully I have enough length to my cord to plug this in. Oh. I have to go on the other side of it here. Oh, nope. Ah, crap. Nope, I think I pulled the plug a little. Yep. Okay. Can't get over there with my headphones. I'll be back. I have like a 15-foot headphone cord, and yet still wasn't quite long enough to reach the other side of the room. Alright. At least not with going over the table this way. which I didn't want to do. Yeah. Alright, so. So if you're just joining in, welcome to Cinderblock Studios Live on Twitch. Working on acrylic fantasy landscape painting, or at least finishing it up. And, okay, seriously? Getting some audio degradation on my headphone cord after I did that. I think I basically ripped it out of the USB port. Not really a good thing. Alright. So. Now. That's right, I have to let this dry. Bummer. I can probably work on these rocks, though, in the meantime. So I think these rocks I can probably lean almost a little bit grayer. So I'm just gonna... Actually, no. I'm gonna grab my black for the first time in, like, very little parts of this piece. But I've got some used paint I can work with. So this is like a nice deep green, and we can play with some of this. I need more palette space. Thought that was going to be enough room, but nope, ran out. Oh, there's another palette I didn't scrape. Jeez. Alright. So that's the color I'm working with now. Which I think I may work some cadmium red into. Get this down here. Probably won't be able to use the chromium oxide to get this as dark as I want it to be. That's pretty good. Nice and red. Might even throw a little of that in for balance. Then the Prussian as a darkening agent. Have a sort of nice, almost like a cool brown going on here. Alright. Need more Prussian. Boop. Alrighty. Just still using all of it. Alright. That's better. Lighten that slightly. Whoa! Now I'm just flinging paint around. Alright. Use that for our rocks. Actually, no, I take that back. I want to add something else to this. The micaceous iron oxide. But just a little. Because that'll act as our black that we were going to add before. And get that right where I want it to be. That is a nice, beautiful dark. Alright. Because these rocks are going to be a little thicker. And I'll probably get to a point where I'll have to let these dry right before I finish the painting. Which will suck because I'll have to set it aside, but I can work on the bookmarks between now and then. Yeah, this was a really good color mix. I might have to try and use some I'm gonna have some of this left over. I might have to try and use it somewhere else, in a different piece somewhere. Just trying to build a little texture into these rocks. That way, later, I'll dry brush over them and they'll be a little more interesting to look at. Alright, looks alright. Oh, you know what? As long as it's still here, put a couple little pebbles and things in here too. You know what? I actually had some other rocks over here originally, so I might put at least one of them back in. Completely forgot about them. Plus it'll give me an extra shadow to drop in over here. Might look pretty neat. So speaking of that extra shadow, we could probably do that right now. But we need more of that small blue for it. That looks good. Trying to get some even darker shadows in here. Especially right up by the rock here, or the cliff in the back. This is actually pure out of the tube color, which is not something I do much, but it's working well. Also, it's transparent, so I can actually afford to do it, so. Alright. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to get a little white. And kind of refine those couple areas I was talking about before. I don't want to change the shape of this at all. I just want to sort of define the edges of some of the snow, so it looks more like a drift rather than just a blob. Just gotta get the camera for a good close-up here. Alright. There actually is going to be a little bit of shadowing in here too, but that's going to be some thinner detailing. Actually using some of the excess blue from that rock shadow to work it into the drifting snow here. I need to do that same thing, but in reverse, on the other side, where the shadows are. Actually might use a spritz of water. Alright. That feels pretty good. was trying to think ahead of time, like I should have a topic or something to talk about today, and it's like, I got nothing. I really have no idea. If you guys have any thoughts, feel free to share them. Because I don't know. Yeah, that all looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Which is rare, I'm usually not. Okay, how are my rocks doing? They're still pretty wet. So I guess I can do a little bit of detail work. I can put my figure in. So he goes there. Okay. So I need a liner. Actually, I might use the same color I was using for my rocks for the figure. Maybe with a little bit of red added to it. Red, little blue. All right. So actually I want to get a different camera angle here too. Get the camera in here. Want him up here a little more. So the figure in this piece is, at least in the story, I want him to be this merchant. So I have to work with his stature and his stance a little bit more than I would normally. Because normally it's just a little shadowy figure, but this guy's going to be a little different. Well, he's still going to be a little shadowy figure, but he's going to be carrying stuff. Don't really need to shadow him too much since he's already in the shadow. So just kind of add a little bit underneath him. He's got a pack full of goodies. Actually gonna add a little bit of color on him too. But just on him, not on what he's carrying, so that way he's different from his little pack. That worked. Okay. Okay, so I can play with detail a little bit here and do some tweaking. But we're pretty close here. Do need to add a little highlights specifically to the rock here on the right, and a little bit on the left. But that thick layer of paint, that's not going to dry for a little while. So we'll be able to set this aside, do some bookmarks, and then come back. I actually might sit down for this. I don't usually sit too much while painting, but okay. So I'm going to mix a new thin color with a black and a blue. We got carbon black and anthraquinone blue, or indigo, if you want to be less fancy. Both in the high flows. And I may toss in some of this muted violet ink. Excuse me. I'm not used to talking this much. I never did a live show last month, so this is kind of me catching up a little. On the plus side, next week we're going to have a painting process video on the YouTube channel. It'll be the first one of the year. It's September. A little late, but yeah, so I'm actually going to think I might angle this up a little too. Just to give myself a little more of a little more room here to work with. I just want to detail these mountains a little on the front. Not a ton, but just get some thinner lines in them. Since I made this nice dark color that's basically just black, these details will stand out. And I might actually add some of it into that city in the background too, the Kingdom of the Wind itself, depending on how into it I end up getting. Yeah, the angle wasn't helping anybody, not even me. I'm getting glare. That's the problem. Is I put that up and I got glare over across the entire piece. I'm like, well, it's not going to help me. So basically, outlining this cliff, turning it into more of a sketch. Which I tend to really like doing. So I just had a thought I may move the camera down for a little bit. Although, it's kind of wrapped up in a coil, so it'd be harder to get down. If I ever think ahead enough, I might end up getting a second webcam and kind of trying to do it through Twitch or through OBS to kind of put a corner screen of a close-up while I'm working. But I think that would involve, if I could ever, be an online artist full time, that would then be a thing I could do. Do not have the time or the resources to do that now. So this is sort of what I was doing with the paint marker earlier, but a little more refined. And right now, when this dries, it's going to be really glossy. But when I do my final clear coat with the gloss, everything will be glossy, so you won't be able to really tell. So that even if I did a final clear coat that wasn't glossy, something that was more matte, I would just really unify this whole surface, and that's why I love doing the finishing coat. But granted, if you're trying to paint something that actually has that difference in gloss to shine, then doing the final gloss coat just ruins all of it. But sometimes, like I'm doing something with water, I'll do my gloss clear coat, and then I'll take actually additional gloss medium over top of that to make the water more reflective. Or like white paint mixed with gloss medium to kind of give it just a few like little water lines to make those shinier. Okay. I bet you guys can see at least a little bit of that. I did kick down my brightness significantly before I started because the camera was picking up just on the light section. You couldn't see any of the dark stuff really at all. Braids are a pain in the butt. Okay, I assume that has something to do with the character you're working on. Oh, just think about the braids like it's rope. They're about the same thing, right? It's just a hair rope. Actually, you could probably look up reference pictures of ropes in order to get that. Alright, so we want to get maybe a little white into this. I mixed other color into this, and I'm pretty sure the black is the only thing I'm seeing here. Getting a slightly bluer mid-tone for this one in the back. can always where the chat figure out where how much the delay is based on where the chat's at. It's like, oh, I said that like 10 minutes ago. Oh, yeah, okay. That's where we're at. My hand's getting into this. I gotta be careful. Actually, I think I've got some white high flow left, so I can probably get this extra highlight that I had in here taken care of. Yeah, here we go. Oop. Should be about a 45-second delay. That sounds about right. When I said 10 minutes, I was looking further up in the further up in things. That was a mistake. There we go. Just wanna just kind of see where I'm at here. So, this liner brush, I'm really abusive to this liner brush. Because sometimes I'm using it as more like that thin pencil line, but a lot of times I'm just dragging it to the side to get a nice wide brush stroke. And it creates this really, I was going to say, I'll do this on the paper over here, you can kind of see. So I get this line with the sideways with this brush. And it just kind of creates this really cool variant the way that just a few bristles drag. And that's what I'm doing on this rock to get this extra texture. And it's just occurred to me, I'm like, this is something that you can never do digitally. Like, you can't use one brush in Photoshop for like 8 different things. It's impossible, you know. That's why I'll probably never go full digital. You know, you can't do stuff like that. It's like you can't take a round brush and suddenly use it as a texture brush. It just doesn't work. That's the thing is I can sit here and paint for an hour and use a single brush and get 8 different textures with it. It's great. You can use the back of the brush for stuff. Use your finger for stuff. Oh, you're watching on your phone. Oh, I suppose that would make a difference then. That's fine. You can be as slow to respond or as fast as you want. It's always good. So, for those watching, thanks for tuning in, hanging out with me this morning as I'm working. What time is it? I haven't even looked in a while. Oh, 9:30. All right. So I started at 8. Started painting an hour ago. I feel like it's pretty good progress in an hour. Being not close to done, well, sort of close to done, and then done, or at least pretty much done. At this point, yeah, it's really just waiting for these rocks to dry a little more. They're a lot further than they were earlier, but they're still kind of a little bit moist. So in the meantime, I'm just sort of doing all that final detailing, so I won't have to do it later. I can probably do a little bit of cast lighting on the rocks since the backside of these are probably pretty dry. I'm in into the piano stuff in my music playlist. Got some Joe Hisaishi in the background. It's great. Alright, if I'm careful, I might be able to get the rocks done. Actually, the ones on the left in particular don't need a ton of light. So, if I get a soft enough brush, well, maybe I don't need a soft brush. Maybe I just actually, yeah, this will probably work. All right. So the question is, how much color do I need to add to this? The answer is probably not much. Get some cobalt blue back out. Cobalt. I still have some zinc on the palette. Yeah, a little bit. Good. Try and get the camera over here and record at least some of this. Earthard, time for me to run. Oh well. Oh, off to work. Thanks so much for tuning in. Always nice to have familiar faces in the chat. Alright, where am I at? Colors. Colors. Oh, and there was paint on that brush, and now it's on my hand, and now it's on my shirt. One of the few times that the left side of me is getting paint on it. Oh, I hit movie soundtracks now. Okay, so we kind of want to start with sort of a mid-tony kind of color. And actually, probably this mid-tone is probably going to be as bright as we get with the side rocks over here. Alright, let's see if I can actually do this without destroying it. It's kind of working. Yeah, there we go. See, as long as we're careful. Picking up on that texture just a little bit. May have to get some reds into the shadow just to offset the difference. This would normally just be a straight dry brush, but I do need to keep it a little wet in order to keep the flow. And actually get it to graze over paint that's not completely dry yet. Okay, a little more white. Look at this one. Black, the alizarin crimson, which we're going to use for shadowing that rock. A little bit of blue in there, so we're not totally killing things. So I wanted to point out two things, since Twitch is sort of a gamey place. The track that's come across my my headphones right now is a series of themes from the game Okami. My orange juice glass is a... probably can't really see it. It's the Hylian Shield and Master Sword from the Zelda series. So I thought ahead, not totally ignoring the gamey side of the community. So I got this nice Asian-y music in the background from the Okami soundtrack, which oddly enough kind of almost fits the painting to some degree. Might even put some of this on this side. Have to get my thinner brush for it though. Don't want to go overboard here. Do one more subtle light highlight with the shadowed rocks. Because my cast lighting right now is actually still brighter than what that was. Could probably almost rub it out a little bit. There we go. Now the question is, what color do I want to sign this painting in? And I think I want to get something redder, like I've got going on in the city. Oh, speaking of which, I gotta bring some of this extra dark stuff into that city too. Didn't even think about it. Seriously, Kingdom of the Wind, man. Just doing whatever you want. Now we've got Mushishi soundtrack. Any anime fans in the house? Whoop! Alright. Got that stiffer brush that I picked up before and didn't touch. I can almost go right into the white now and just gotta keep it a little wet though. Keep it nice wet dry brushing. What? I have to try and tap some of this out. Just into the white. Yeah, maybe we're seeing some snow into that rock. Okay. So a couple more details in the kingdom. Make that stand out. And we should be just about good. So it'll be signature and then adding the black bars in. Which, when I first do it, I do it with tape. But when I do one of these and finish it, I want it to be a little more natural, so I'll actually just go back in without tape and just real steadily get that going. So I'm going to get the camera out for one or two final shots. Whether or not I end up using those final shots, well, that's up in the air. That's the thing about those painting process videos I do on the main channel. It's like probably 20 gigs worth of footage, and I boil it down to a project of like maybe 3 gigs worth of footage, and then the final export's maybe like 1.2. So it's like, geez, it's a lot of extra footage for stuff. But the thing is, I don't know what I'm going to use, and based on the soundtrack and what's going to work. I've been meaning to do just basically stream an edit of, or record a screen record of like an edit that I'm doing. But probably take up just a hell of a lot of resources doing that. So I'm not even sure if it would work without causing just an absolute crash of my system. I mean, I've got a pretty high-end system, but it's a couple of years old, and you know. So I want to point out what I'm listening to right now. I've kind of been doing that along the way, but if you go to YouTube and just search Star Machine 2000 live, that's what I'm listening to. It's totally worth it if you need a little extra background music in addition to the stream. Because I certainly do. And the only reason I'm not showing it is, or not having it on while I'm working here, is just because it's, you know, this video goes up to YouTube afterwards, and then I don't want to get hit with a bunch of copyright strikes. So I have to think ahead a little bit. Maybe some stream I'll play just like Creative Commons music, so it'll actually kind of work out. But not today. Okay. Record like a little 2-minute segment, probably end up using 10 seconds of it. That's why it ends up being a huge amount of time. Yeah, but here, most of this has been like, I know I have to record some of this, but it's like I really want to just concentrate on the piece. Yeah, this is the problem with this high flow. This whole cliff that I did about an hour ago, it looks wet, so I don't want to set my hand on it, but it's dry, it's just shiny. So I've been trying to not to lean over the screen here too much, but kind of need to. Because I know all you're seeing really here is probably the top of my head. Actually, no. If you're not, I have the camera further over, so you actually might be alright. I actually considered doing some of the finishing detail with this with just a pen, but I didn't want to. I mean, I did, but I didn't. It was funny, I actually had to get out the layout design for the city when I was working on this. I have this whole map. And I was like, if I want to get this city to look right, I have to know exactly where everything's at. That's a lot of cut down, yes. Yes, it is. It's an insane amount of cut down. Yeah, I'm terrified to know exactly how much space on my external drive this project's gonna take up. It's gonna be a lot. I'm already on like 3 batches of recordings, I think now. My camera's supposed to just continuously number the images and like the video footage, but it doesn't do it. Every time I delete it, it resets to 0. So I have to put them in separate folders within that subfolder that it's like batch 1, batch 2, batch 3. So things don't get recorded over and such. Also helps my hands are a little steadier this morning. A lot of times my hands are really shaky. Actually, most of the time my hands are really shaky. This is absurd that I'm able to keep this steady today. I guess I'm a little more confident today with this than I have been previously. And I'm excited to get it done, so that helps too. So for those of you out there watching that also follow me on YouTube, I noticed recently that I'm actually approaching 5,000 subscribers, which is that next big milestone. I don't think I did anything special since the 1,000 mark. That was a couple years ago. So I've been trying to figure out something to do for the 5,000, and I've kind of got an idea, and I want it to be a surprise. So some sort of a video that's it's different, and I want it to be, I feel like, a little bit more personal, since this is sort of a big deal, the 5,000. Okay, I need a little bit of white. I thought about doing a giveaway, but since I already did a giveaway this year, at least early enough, it would be a little more harder to do. So there is a little bit of a plan for that video once I hit that mark, but it's going to be about, one thing on top of another, getting around to that video, getting around to 3 other ones I'm working on. So it's like, well, geez, plus trying to work other stuff in between. Yellow. Trying to add a few extra little highlights now into the city and brighten the things up a little bit. Someday I'll do a stream where I do play the copyrighted stuff, and you can just like watch me jamming out. Be great. I'll figure out how to do it someday. I mean, that's like it's hard to figure out. It's hard to figure out to do it without making people mad with copyrights and junk. Could probably do it on Picardo, since Picardo they don't give a crap. They're too small of a. So we have the castle on the left-hand side. I know you probably can't see this, so I'll have to get a detail shot when I finish the piece up. There's a geyser in the center. There's this little green section where the gardens are. There's sort of like a central plaza right by the castle. And then the whole right side is all the town. Then there's a bridge, which I honestly can't remember from the story that I wrote to now if the bridge was supposed to be a wooden bridge or a stone bridge. I have no idea. Actually, even when I wrote the story, I didn't know which I wanted to do. So for the painting, it's actually a wood bridge. So it has a little bit of a sag to it. Although now I screwed it up. That's close enough. Still not 100% happy with the city, but I'll have to just deal with it. I'm working in such a small area. Okay. Let's sign this thing. Get a different, slightly larger liner brush. I think I'm going to go with like a deep red. Make it stand out. But not too much. So when I sign a piece, it's usually the month that I finished it, but I'm actually going to go ahead and sign this as August and lie a little bit, since 90% of this piece was done in August. And also, I don't think I actually have any paintings that say August on them for this year, so a little bit of a cheat there, but no one will know except us. It's a secret. It's a public secret. Alright, I can finish my black bar edges. I'm still debating with myself on whether or not I want to make the front look snowy with a couple little blasts of spray paint. I still might, I don't know. Although I kind of have to make that decision now. Because if I wait, then I gotta tape off the black bars. No, I'm going to let it go, because the whole back has sort of this misty snow back there. And I think the idea of concentrating it back there might be a little better. Okay. So, we got to get a nice solid flat brush. Go with my old reliable. And I just want a big pile of that black high flow, because that's what I'm using for the overlay. Sometimes, actually, it starts with being black gesso, but this tends to work pretty nicely to finish it up. So I'm going to start on top. And one of the last things I record here is going to be that. Actually, I'm going to take it off the tripod and stick the camera on the other side of me. There. On. I'm going to focus it to maybe here. That's good. We'll hit up this one. So first thing I'm going to do is actually get the side of taken care of. This is like so freaking precise. And it'd be easier to tape it, but half the paint's wet, so I can't. Which is why I usually opt to do it with just by hand. Okay. Not much of that's done. So now and because I painted that line thicker in the first place, I do have a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a ridge that I can just that just guides my hand all the way down. Which is why I'm able to actually do this by hand. It's also like grab a good brush, you know, because it's actually a little white tape line there where paint didn't get to. And I'm gonna have to make some of this sky color again in order to get that, which is gonna suck. Yeah, the black bars kind of make it look like a widescreen movie, and it's an interesting little technique I kind of started doing for fitting an aspect ratio to a certain canvas size. That's what it is. Like, the painting I want to do is thinner than a regular 16 by 20, which is I think what this is. So okay. So that marks the end of the recordings for the painting process video, thank God. So I'll probably end up editing that this afternoon, and it'll be up next Friday. All right. There's the top. So already it's just like, bam, impact. It makes that big of a difference. Need a little more paint though. A little harder to see the one on this side. Played a lot with that snow and I kind of lost a bit of my edge. Also, there's some white over here, so I may have to double up my layers. Yeah, the whole bottom edge, it's like still the original black gesso too, which is funny. So there's much I have to. I can almost I could thin this out even and just paint it pretty thin. It actually went over my line a little bit right there, but I don't think anyone's going to notice. just so nerve-wracking. Because I know how very easily it could be that I just... like one wrong move and I got a big black spot across the whole piece that will probably involve me wiping some not completely dried paint away and being just screwed. Yeah, since I use so much more paint on the bottom than I did on the top, seeing where that line is really hard. Yeah, so now I thinned it out and I lost my darkness. I'm gonna have to buy some more of that. That's getting a little bit low. Okay, turn this. On the plus side, the high flow doesn't take super long to dry, since it's so much thinner. Oh, hell, I fucked up. Yeah, that's a pretty big line. There we go. I got it. This is so damn hard. Yeah, that edge got a little wavy. I don't know how much of this I'll be able to salvage without making it worse. I mean, it's so minimal, but okay. Just might be able to go the other way, make it wider rather than shallower. Uh-huh. And I finally present the Kingdom of the Wind. The first painting for a project I conceived and started over a year ago. Or, well, yeah, about a year ago, I should say. Not over a year. About a year. Man. All right. So, wipe the rest of this excess up so I don't have to clean the palette later. I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and I think I'll clean some brushes in the meantime. Yeah, I like that dark color I had there, but it's gonna have to just go into the used paint jar, because there's no way I can hold on to that at this point. Crimson. What else do I have left that's still wet? A little bit of the green. There's some white I can scrape in. Used white. Crap. There we go. I don't have a lot of stuff that I usually put into the used white, because white usually I end up using up faster. Here. Okay, so palettes go set off to the side. Pause my music. And I'm gonna go clean my brushes. I will be back. All tall brushes, I think. Yep. Oh, chat seems to be having some issues. Why is chat having issues? Okay. So yeah. Double check on the stream health here, because it seems to be a little odd. Okay. I'm still good. I don't think we've broken any things. Alright. Now, what time we got? Almost 10:30. Man. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say. So those are pretty good. This is going to get set off to the side to finish drying. And then I'll have to spray it later. Alright. So now I got bookmarks to work on. These two are actually done. I just need to sign them. These I'm just getting some white pen highlights on top. Boom. Just making them a little more interesting. Let's see, I'll be able to finish these. Since I finished Kingdom of the Wind piece, I've got the pastel piece, and I want to gesso a canvas yet today. So we're going to keep working on that stuff. Alright, so we got these two. So... Right, I had music going. I want to turn that back on. Get myself moving here. Alrighty. Here we go. These are nice quick ones. Getting the go left, I think. Oh, I'm jamming out now. Wish you guys could hear this, but it's like, I can't. Actually, this actually is a Creative Commons song, so probably could in theory. This one and this one. Alright. Bookmarks are done. Woo! Gotta sign them. Get a piece of cardboard and get ready to spray them. Something long and skinny. Here we go. So I'll need that. Need the... Use this on the bookmarks. Use this on the painting. Need some tape. These I think I will put down as September, since bookmarks are a much longer process. So one interesting thing about if you do art long enough is you start where'd the chat window go? There it is. You start getting really good at doing your own signature, whatever that happens to be. And then every now and then you have off days where like you can't even sign your name right. But for the most part, it's like just a quick. It's almost like doing. If you imagine like an actor or something, or a celebrity of sorts doing autographs, it's kind of like that. Because they have a nice quick motion for it. There's two. One. So I don't know if you guys do this or not, but when I'm signing my name, I'm actually saying the letters in my head, even though I should know how to spell my name. But it's like I should probably know. So I guess in these live shows I usually end up teasing a lot of upcoming videos, so I think I'll do that. Can't tell you what I'm doing for 5,000 yet, but because yeah, that's the one I definitely want to be a surprise. I can tell you that it's going to be from the heart and a lot more personal than a lot of things you kind of see from me. It's like yeah, sort of in a similar line to what you might get out of like a Behind the Artist or something like that. I've got part 2 of the fundamentals of landscape design, which I need to finish writing before I can film it. There is an artist interview that I'm finally recording next Saturday. It was supposed to be last month. We had to reschedule, which was unfortunate, but it's still happening. So that's going to be good. What else is there? I think it's 4 or 5 things I love that are creative that aren't painting. That's going to be a video. That's what I love about doing these. That's what I love about spoiling stuff during the live shows, is because I know the audience is a little more limited, so I can share stuff, and you guys are getting the inside scoop for. Okay. Yeah, so these are a matte finish. That's a gloss finish for the painting. Probably could have been a little tighter, but okay, so I got this canvas, then this needs gesso, so I'll work on this today. I'm getting a lot done today. This is great. Plus, this is the other thing too, is you get a lot done, you're getting a good mood. Then oh, that's actually the last song on my playlist too. Be good. So I'm gonna gesso this. That really hurt. Nick just took the skin off. It's great. Hope I don't start bleeding. Probably won't. That's not real. Well, maybe. I don't know. Hard to say. Okay. So. Got a 1/4 inch profile canvas. This will be the next thing. Actually, the very next thing, really. Oh yeah, I can also tease that the mural on the sidewall is going to be done likely in early October, and that I'm going to stream in like the entire process of, which will probably span like 3 days. So I'll like start streaming early in the morning, and just keep the stream running live continuously for like 3 days. So I'll probably cut it up a little bit for YouTube, but on the Twitch side, there's just like a continuous 3-day stream, basically. I mean, I might cut it, obviously, when I go to bed and stuff, but for the most part, it'll run for like 8 hours a day for 3 days. And I do have a video game-esque drawing coming up as well. I gotta get around to sketching that out. One of those ones with heavy graphite that I used to do more of. It's been a while. lay it on there. So I can probably talk. What else can I talk about video-wise? I don't know. I really don't. I think there's the other ones I actually really have big plans for. Now we are coming up. I say this loosely. We are coming up on the end of the year a little bit. So there'll be, like outtakes and stuff like that come December. My vacation is the end of October, so hopefully I'll be able to get some solid videos recorded then. Probably going to be at least another 2 regular acrylic painting tutorials this year. I don't know what they're going to be yet. Kind of have little inklings of what they are, but I don't. Every now and then it's just like, oh yeah, that thing. I should do a painting tutorial on that. And it's just never. They're not usually written down. So whatever you guys are doing this morning, thank you for joining in and watching. As I kind of between projects right now, I got a tree up back behind me. See, this is another like 16 by 20 canvas, so this will also likely have those black bars on them. So once this layer of gesso dries, I'll come back with tape and black gesso and change the ratio of this one as well. It's fun to do them that way. I always think, I think I said this earlier, but it makes it look like a movie, which is neat. Oh, and there's the end of my music playlist. Okay, so I'll have to find something else to listen to in the meantime. I got a nice backlog of YouTube videos to get to as well. Problem is, a lot of them are visual, like other people's artwork and stuff, and it's like, well, that only works if I'm not working on anything. When I'm working on something, then I can't look up. I'm only looking at the canvas. I can't look at somebody else's canvas. Makes it a little hard. All right, that's good. Yay, gesso. Alright. So, probably run the stream till maybe about 11:30. That's about another hour. So just, heads up. Except at that point, I'll probably have to stop and actually eat something. Because I was thinking, I was going to get one of those little pastry things. Never happened. I knew that in advance when I said it. I'm like, oh, I'm just getting one of these. Nope, didn't happen at all. Okay, let me clean this brush out. I was just thinking as I was cleaning that brush about what video game character to do, and I've been wanting to do a Kikwi from Zelda Skyward Sword, I think they could be a fun one to do. Alright, so I got this tree. I'm actually going to try and zoom in with the camera a little bit, just to kind of give you guys a better look at this thing. So, plus I got to adjust brightness settings now to be a little bit more right. So we're going to zoom in, and then there we go. So we're zoomed. Clean up the focus a little. Brighten it slightly. That looks good. Alright. So now, get that back over here. I don't know if I can change the title of the video in the middle of the stream. I gotta certainly try though. So the title of the stream has always been yeah, no, it doesn't let me do it in the middle of the stream. I didn't think so. Oh wait, there it goes. From acrylic fantasy landscapes, just fantasy landscapes, because I'm not working in acrylic at this point. So, all right, pastel time! Woo! Always fun to work in pastels. Way too many sets of pastels that I've got here. Alright. So, I feel like the color's probably a little bit off. It's like it's a little desaturated or something. Let's tweak that if we can. Saturation. It says 131, which is actually a lot more than that, but I don't know. Yeah, there's that nick. Okay. So I want to get some browns. Work on this. Actually, I probably don't need these at all. The branches are kind of right where I need them to be. But it's the base of the tree and the grass that I want to work on here. Yeah, and so I don't work with pastels enough because they're a great medium, and it's like you get a lot of interesting freedom by you working with pastels, and it kind of teaches you a bit about color mixing and a bit about painting before you actually work with paint, because you can blend with your finger and get all these really cool subtle tones and variations with the I want to call it paint. It's not. It's pastels. Still though, it's a really cool medium. I highly recommend trying it at least once. This boards are really hard and it's powdering things off a little bit. And plus I've got all these great pastels and I almost never touch them, so it's like, well, I should probably do something every now and then. Actually, I'm really happy to be streaming this this part of this process, because this is a really great, really fun to do, especially streaming some of my mixed media stuff. So a great way to support my work and support my channel. I know not a lot of you can afford a lot of my artwork and stuff like that, but earlier this year I started up a Patreon page. I think it's just patreon.com/SetterBlockStudios, but there are links Actually, I don't think there's a link here on Twitch yet, but there are links all over the place. YouTube, as well as my website, cinderblockstudios.com. You can find links to. I just realized I need to post for this week for my $1 or more patrons. What you get out of that is access to some weekly sketch pages, so stuff out of my regular sketchbook, any of my regular stuff here. I post anywhere from usually like 1 to 3 pages per week. Just like, here, this is the stuff I'm working on. These are some of the upcoming ideas I've got going on. Of course, knowing me, I'm actually like 3 sketchbooks behind, so chances are you won't see any of those paintings for a while. But I think they're really a fun thing to show, especially at that it's just simple $1 cap to get access to that feed. Plus your money always helps support me, helps support making stuff, because making stuff is expensive. You can be a digital artist, and you can work on the computer and be like, oh, I make all this cool stuff, but when you're a traditional artist, the cool stuff you're making does have a little bit of a higher price tag. You're buying supplies more often. You're making stuff. For me, it's really in my spare time, so I have to put off other responsibilities to actually have studio time. This is a good green. I should have used this one from the start. There's some of this one. This is a nice springy green. So I'm going to use the very base of this is watercolor on top of some paper. The trees here obviously are going to be a pastel, but I'm just going to doing the pastel here more as a base, which I can then come back in. I'll probably come back in with acrylic and then detail the crap out of it with acrylic a bit later. But yeah. Pastels are awesome. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to get some of the harder ones here to get at least the bit of detail I need out of this. Probably should have hit this with some alcohol or something. I can see this little thing starting to swell a little bit. It's not a good thing. You should go get some Neosporin on that. Tape it up. There's a couple spots of color here I actually missed. So I had a darker brown, then I had this color over top, which is kind of similar to the iron oxide red in a tube of paint. I actually want to get some more of these harder new pastels. They're really cool. More stuff I missed. Actually, I have some brown India ink, so I'm probably going to come in and ink more and more branches to this when I get to that point. Actually, I like the idea of doing ink instead of acrylic. That could be really good. Or even acrylic ink, That's the thing with these mixed media projects, is I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks and what I kind of am interested in doing with the piece. And like, okay, maybe I'll try some of this and some of that. There's no plan to a piece like this. I'm just literally just playing with my materials to see what they can do and where I can take them, and developing new techniques and things. Put some little grassy things in here, kind of like flowers. I could even get a red or something and get things that maybe actually look a little more like flowers. Some reds, maybe a violet or something. Got a bluish purple here that I can do that with. Some white, maybe? Oh yeah, that's good. That's what this is. It's just a bit of an experiment. I like that. Put a little more on the base of that tree. Okay, looks pretty good. So I'll spray this as well. That tends to be nice and useful. Hit this with that clear coat. And after I do that, then I won't be able to hit it with pastels anymore, since I'm going to use an acrylic clear coat before I start inking. Actually, can I actually do that? I mean, I'll be able to. I think I have to stick with the workable fixative for this then. So there's another can and another thing. It's a spray layer. Luckily, I can do that all at once in the garage, so it helps. Alright, so pastels, pastels, pastels. Okay, what else we got? Other projects and things. Might try and so what was that? The pastel? That was actually everything on my list. So yeah, I can't start another painting because I don't have the gesso for that. But maybe I can start a drawing for the next time I do a live stream, which, if I plan this accordingly, might be next Friday, or even later today. Even not really sure. Oh yeah, so it's Kingdom of the Wind with that sketch. So that resketch for Kingdom of the Wind I did in July, and September I'm just finishing it. So yeah, it's sketchbook 26. I just finished this one. This is more Kingdom of the Wind stuff. This is 23. So I'm actually might be 4 sketchbooks behind now. No, 3, 26. I'm on sketchbook 27 now. I'm 4 sketchbooks behind. That's too many sketchbooks behind. So I'm gonna get a Kikwi picture that I can blatantly copy, because other people do fan art and they can, they can get it to where they can just make a character. I can't do that. I'm not a character designer. Sorry. I have to do it the cheapy way. Alright, at the very least, I can probably just start. Do I have any alcohol wipes down here? I have rubbing alcohol. Actually, that'll probably be okay. Just hit my hand with some rubbing alcohol and scream as it burns the hell out of me. Then I'll probably be fine. Just clean that off. Ooh, yeah, that stings. Oh, there's the little wipies. I knew we had a couple around. Little alcohol wipies. Yeah. Okay. Kill the bacteria. Yep, there they are. Now the question is, do I pull a screenshot, or do I pull official art, or what do I actually play with? These guys are a simple enough shape. I could, in theory, do one of my own. Yeah, they're a really simple. I got 3 circle design too. Let's go with this. And go vertical. This is another thing I don't do often, is show the sketch process for the character stuff. Because it's usually just a really light pencil. I actually don't even know how well you guys will be able to see this, because it's really, really light work. Hopefully the contrast is good enough. Let me see. Just tip the brightness down just slightly. Maybe you guys can see it, maybe you can't, I don't know. So, we've got a Kiwi. The thing is when I do the character stuff, it could either turn out great or terrible, so I don't know really at all what it's going to look like before I even get it going. Face. Here. Down to the side. I gotta round this out a lot more. His head's rounder too. Push that. The trick with using a light pencil that when you erase it, there's almost nothing left, so helps significantly. This actually isn't bad. I might be able to pull this off. We have a spiral for his little head plant. Looks like a big question mark, basically. That's not bad. His arm kind of comes up and over. Still not as wide as he needs to be. They're rounder and fatter, you know. Not the best thing to say, but these creatures look like a pair of balls. It's the only thing I can think of. I think there's a couple of Pokemon that look suspicious as well. It's like how did nobody notice this? At least in the design process, I'm sure everybody noticed it, but round his arm off a little more here. Which is a little fairly similar. Hand and legs are pretty much just these little fin things. They're pointy. Probably afford to exaggerate a little bit here. They have a big bushy tail thing. That's not bad. Although, I'm not sure I'm super happy with it. Well, I think I'll set that aside, generally for later. Why you don't want to drag the thing, I have no idea. Whoa, there goes my eraser. Just swipe that right off the table. Alright, I'll set that aside for later. I may or may not do something with that. Okay. I think I might wrap up the stream for today. Because I finished all my intended projects. And I'm pretty happy with that. So, I think one more time I'll throw that piece in, since it's dry and the black bars are finished. So, worked on this today, got that done, and such. So, thanks everybody for tuning in. This was fun, as always, to stream, especially as long as I did today. So the stream, once it's finished processing, will get uploaded to YouTube, and then over the course of the next week, time-coded. So if you missed anything watching today or watching just later, you can always go back and figure out where you left off and pick up there again. So that's always good. So for those watching, thanks for tuning in. My name is Benny Ockel. I'm an artist living and working just north of Pittsburgh, PA, here in the United States. You can find more of my work online at cinderblockstudios.com or by checking out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/ capital C, Enderblock Studios. You can find my work there, as well as numerous tips and tutorials, videos for aspiring artists, all the like. If you'd like to find out more about this Kingdom of the Wind project, you can. I think there's also a link to the channel in below the video here on Twitch. You can go to my YouTube channel, and in the search box, just type Kingdom of the Wind, and you can find out more about this project. You can also find it on the projects page of my website, cinderblockstudios.com/projects. So again, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Wherever my stop button is.